I think, whenever I see an incredibly keyword saturated blog, and it makes me viscerally angry.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. As always, I'm your host Mike, and today I am joined by one of our business development managers here at Spotlight Branding, Jana Eatman. Say hi to the peoples.
Hello, people.
Jana has been with Spotlight Branding for how long?
Coming up on 8 years.
8 years, wow. Yeah. And then in that 8 years, what have you done with Spotlight?
So I actually started out in our marketing department, so close to your heart. And then did that for about a year, and then moved into our sales department. And I've been doing that for the last 7-ish, and now I'm kind of hybrid sales and marketing, helping out with some events now too, but still getting to talk to everybody, which I love. Yeah,
and I think that's probably the best reason why I wanted to bring you on the show to talk about our topic today, which is about myths about legal marketing. And the reason why is because you are right there on the front lines. You're one of the ones, shout out Casey. But you're one of the ones that is talking to lawyers on basically a daily basis, to their faces, and helping them realize what their issues might be and how what we do can help them solve those issues with their marketing. So myths about legal marketing, and the first and foremost one, and one that I think gets brought up a lot because it seems like it might be a dinosaur of a marketing tactic, is email marketing. What can you tell me about email marketing for law firms nowadays?
Nowadays, I still think it's incredibly crucial. There has been, the myth going around that it's dead, that we held a funeral for it, and it's no longer something that should be a big concerted effort for law firms. But I think it had busted.
Busted.
Is there a graphic? Busted. Put a graphic up.
If you're watching this on YouTube or TikTok, you might see a graphic there. But for those listening, Jana slammed her fist down and said, "Myth busted."
Myth busted.
Yeah. If there was a funeral, I definitely wasn't there attending myself.
I mean, I wasn't either. I think people think it happened and it didn't. It was I don't know who a celebrity is that people think's dead, but it's really not.
I don't know. I mean, people think that Michael Jackson's still alive.
There you go. So, I don't know where I'm at in that camp, but I think that it is still alive and kicking, thriving. It is such an impactful and cost-efficient way to stay in touch with your audience. That's everyone. It's not just your potential clients, but it's your existing ones, your past ones, your referral sources. And it's absolutely one of the best ways to consistently be where they are, which is their inbox.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a stat, I think it came from Forbes or one of those very credible websites, where it said that about 84% of people still today, this is 2024 stats, 84% of people check their email at least once a day.
I'm surprised it's not higher, honestly.
But still, for all those people out there that think that email's dead and this and that, that number should shock the pants out off you. I mean, that's just a...
Keep it PG, but yeah.
Yeah. That's just a monstrous number for how many... It goes up for 2 to 5 times a day. I think, so it's 84% check at least once a day. But that number includes people who check more 2 to 5 times a day. And it's so once a day is something like 21%. And then I think it jumps up to 35% check 2 to 5 times a day. Right. Yeah. So that's a substantial amount of people, especially in your law firm's network.
Absolutely.
When you're on sales calls and you're talking about email, is this something that you see brought up, that they're oh, well, nobody really pays attention to email anymore?
It's certainly a concern that I get. It's a question, what is the value of an email newsletter? How strong is it still in 2024? But then I talk to a lot of people who are cognizant of how effective it is, but it's really just a matter of the time that they have to allot to it. But it is a question that sometimes I'll have, and I think sometimes it even goes back to print versus email for newsletters, because I think some attorneys and professional firms have found a lot of success with mailers, but they are expensive.
Yeah.
especially for the solo and small firms that we work with. But I think once we kind of talk through the specifics of, how large their network is, and we look at stats like that 84% are still checking, I think it is something that is easily recognized as a very powerful tool.
This is not to sound very, mean or anything like that, but I think there might be just a slight level of ignorance, right? About that, hey, well, I think that email marketing is dead, so I'm not going to do it. Whereas like the stats are completely showing otherwise. And that kind of ties into the next myth, which is really about a lot of law firms believe that they're maximizing the referrals when they're really not. And how does that even work?
They absolutely kind of think that the holiday cards once a year and maybe a quick birthday text is sufficient to stay in touch with people. It's not. I mean, I forget what I had for breakfast yesterday. People in general are so forgetful, and those little, very occasional, sporadic touch points aren't sufficient. Not with how much content we're consuming these days and how much we're being inundated with. You have to be a bigger part of the narrative.
Yeah, we had Fanny on the podcast.
Shout out fans.
Yeah, a couple months ago, and she kind of touched on this as well. And she's like, listen, you could be getting 50 referrals a year, and you think oh my gosh, I am absolutely killing it, and you're doing. Don't get me wrong, that's great.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, but you could be getting. You find out you could be getting 100 referrals a year. Mm-hmm. Double the business right there.
Yeah. Have you talked about the stat? The one that we reference all the time?
Bring it up for our
if you
viewers
haven't,
or listeners.
It's a stat done by the Texas Tech School of Business, I believe, that said 83% of law firms' clients are willing to send them referrals. Guess how many do? Guess that percentage.
I'm going to play dumb here and say, let's say 50.
Wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Wrong. It's 29.
Whoa.
Which is approximately a third-ish. And so a lot of times in our marketing, we'll even kind of tout the referral statistic of you're only getting a third of the referrals that you could be getting if you were to stay in touch a bit better.
Yeah.
Email's a great way to do that.
Emails. That's why I thought that would be a great segue, because it's hey, email's not dead. And by the way, you could just be setting up an email newsletter. How simple is it to touch back on email? How simple is it to set up an email newsletter?
Oh, incredibly. And I say that as someone who, whenever I did it for the first time, I'm thinking back to that time, not just how easy it is for me to do now, having been here for a while. But shameless plug, we're doing a webinar on September 17th, 2024.
Somebody's racing outside.
I know. He's racing to go sign up for the webinar is what he's doing.
True. That's true.
3 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to be doing a behind the scenes kind of lifting the hood on our services. And one of this is the email newsletter.
Just a little, asterisk on that. By the time you might be listening to this full episode, by the time it might be after. But you can still watch it.
Yes.
If you're listening to this, it already happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
gotcha.
it was terrific. Oh my God.
Great.
We had 10,000 people show up.
Yeah, we did.
And you should totally check it out.
Yeah, we did great. And I will happily send you the recording of what already happened.
So let's talk about the actual basis of legal marketing. For just mainstream idea, marketing has always been associated with growing. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that most law firm owners believe that I only want to do marketing if I'm growing. So have you ever had this kind of statement been stated in your calls?
Oh, for sure. And it's phrased differently a lot of the times, but I think that marketing, as you said, is synonymous with growth. I think scalability is a term I've been hearing a lot lately too. And I get why that is. I get why those two are a lot of times put together. I think that growing honestly can mean a lot of things. It could be, growing your leads. It could be growing your clients. It could be growing the amount of cases in X area. I think there's a lot of facets to it.
Yeah. I mean, but okay. So let's dispel this myth here. Why is marketing not just about the definition of growing? Why? What is the purpose of marketing if you're not growing?
I think it's reminding people that are already kind of in that network, if you will. And I'll kind of defer to a couple really large brands as good examples, like Coca-Cola or Taco Bell, who has my heart. Sponsor me, please. I think they do a great job of reminding people of like certain emotions and feelings, and really just reminding them why they should be the go-to for, sodas, even though I'm a Mountain Dew girl, but it's whatever. Coca-Cola does a good job still. Taco Bell, why you need to go get your gordita. But it's kind of establishing these like emotional like feelings of happiness with their stuff to people who are already familiar with the product, who are already customers. I have both of those, pretty consistently. But they kind of continue nurturing people that already are aware of them, not necessarily in an effort to grow their customer base, but in an effort to just make them synonymous with these happy, cozy feelings.
Yeah. Just that when you see the brand, or you drive by one, you have a certain emotion that runs through your head or something like that. And just to let everyone out there know, we aren't saying that you need to advertise or market like Coca-Cola or Taco Bell, especially since these are businesses that sell a lot of something in order to make a profit. Very much different. We're not saying that we got a market like that, but we're just kind of making that point that it's that nurturing aspect for sure.
And of course, like those are very, very large brands, and most of our clients are sold as small firms, and so there's certainly a difference there. But I think that sentiment still rings true a bit
for sure. And yeah, you definitely want to have someone feel a certain way when they hear about you, or that someone they talk about you. You want them to be happy about what you've done for them. Maybe you have a very calming and very caring sense about you, and that's what they admire about you. So you're someone that they can trust, that sort of thing, for sure. Yeah. So okay, let's dive into another piece of marketing that a lot of lawyers get wrong. Why is blogging not just for SEO?
Ooh, well, gosh, how long do we have for this podcast? So blogging, I think, for SEO purposes specifically and exclusively, terrible idea. It is so obvious, I think, whenever I see an incredibly keyword saturated blog, and it makes me viscerally angry. I don't know if I've just been conditioned having working here. Before that though, I could tell when it would say even on a website, when it would say San Antonio personal injury lawyer, San Antonio dog bite lawyer, for just every 3 words, and it angers me. Blogs should be for the people that read them, not for the robots on the internet that are crawling for keywords.
Yeah.
Well, simple as that, I think.
I mean, think about it this way, right? Your blog it can be in many ways your first interaction with potential clients.
Oh, absolutely.
They come to your blog because they have questions and you have answers. And how would you like to have someone very, very terribly just skate around the point that they're trying to make in the blog, right? Just so they can put keywords, buzzwords in there.
Angry. It makes me just my blood pressure's getting higher just thinking about them, because I've seen them. It's terrible, and it confuses people, I think, in a way, because like you said, they're looking for the point. They're looking for the meat of that blog that will let them know that the attorney can help them with whatever situation that they're in. And when they're having to dodge all of that nonsense and fluff to get there, it just it confuses them. And confusion is the enemy of a decision.
Oh, absolutely. What do you usually say, or how do you go about it when you're having a call and a lawyer says, hey, I really want SEO pumped into my marketing? I usually just hang up on him at that point. That's smart. Yeah.
No, I usually just kind of talk a little bit about, what even the goal is. So why is it that you feel like SEO is the prerogative? Why should that be at the forefront of the blog? And typically that comes down to what's been pumped into kind of the world as SEO is the holy grail of marketing. It's just almost synonymous, the same way that marketing is with growth. SEO and marketing are so closely tied, and I think people think they have to do that to get more clients, but ultimately their goal really just is more clients. So when you have blogs that really educate your like leads, it leads to higher conversion rates, which leads to more clients. Or if you're pushing that in front of your network, that leads to more referrals, which are more clients.
Yeah.
And so I think we kind of just scale it back a little bit and look at what is the ultimate goal. Is SEO really the best way to get there? Never really. No,
especially with Google changing its algorithm like almost every single day. Like you could be on page 1 and you did it, woohoo!
Yay.
You throw a little party, and then you're back on page 5 the next day. Like they change it so often, and also the internet is changing with how people are using it.
Yeah,
like
it's a great point.
I'm sure there are people that still use Google and say, let's see, divorce lawyer in Charlotte, North Carolina. But those tend to not be the best people to have as clients because they tend to be the ones that are price shopping. They're just looking for a list, and they're going to go through and they're going to see, okay, who's the best price, aka the cheapest.
Yeah, or who has a free consultation that'll hopefully give me whatever I need before. Yeah, exactly.
Versus the people that are actually using the internet to get their questions answered. So they're actually typing in their questions. Like, what do I do if I get into an accident?
And you know what? That makes a great blog topic.
There you go.
So
for anyone listening out there that does personal injury, there you go.
It's a great one. And so I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we have kind of shifted to a more of a question-based search, especially honestly with the emergence of AI, where we're kind of talking to like ChatGPT like they're a person to try and get those answers. I think people are asking Google or Bing or Yahoo, maybe probably not, but maybe. But we're asking them in these like question styles, and so having blogs that hit that exact topic and answer it are exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly what you're looking for. Awesome. Jana, any final thoughts here?
I think that's about it. Now that I'm talking to y'all from the future, I wish I knew about the lottery numbers or something. But other than that, no, I think we got some good myths busted.
Absolutely. And there's plenty of more to ruin the myths day, but we'll save that for another episode. For anyone listening out there, appreciate you guys listening. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.